Hello, and welcome back to Worldview Connections. I'm Isaac Matthews, and this is our series about morality. We're finishing up here with talking about what motivates you to be moral and good. Are you intrinsically uh, motivated? In other words, does love and compassion for other people or the love of doing good just make you happy? No one has to pay you, no one has to give you a reward or an award for doing anything. You don't want to be publicly recognized for it because even the public recognition can be a form of reward in and of itself. And this is in the Bible of Jesus's teaching, saying, well, you have your reward. You do good things to be seen of other people, to be rewarded of them. Um, or do you avoid doing bad things because you're afraid of being punished, going to prison, going to jail, or even minor things, having your family or loved ones get angry at you? And so some people do things because they, uh, you know, I would be of the philosophy that there's obviously good things you do because you have to have a job and you do it for money. You have to pay your bills, and that's part of the order of life. I think anyone who argues against that hasn't experienced enough in life to know better. But the philosophers who argue that you do good, and if you're doing good just for the money or just for the reward, and even if you have a little joy in it in there, that's still immoral. I'm with those philosophers who argue that that's not immoral. I simply believe that it's good to see people doing good. And if it's good, if the fear of going to prison keeps people from murdering others, that's great. So be it. If they can never find an intrinsic reason not to kill or rape or murder people, do harmful things in public and community and or to themselves, whatever reasons keeps people good, to me that's still, for me that's still an aspect of moral goodness. Now, is it the supreme morality? No, of course. Love driven goodness and compassion for others is, I think, would be ultimate morality. I would agree with that, but I don't shame it if that's something that does motivate someone to do good. Throughout each moral topic we'll look at, though, people define good and evil, and some things are called sin and some things are right. But in the gray box on the right, it says here, is it always wrong to lie, for example? If you're lying to save somebody's life or lying to again, you got to be careful, not arguing that the ends justify the means. But there is sort of a relative morality system in our society. If somebody came to the door asking for your friend and they had a gun in their hand, you knew they'd kill them if they knew where they were. Would you let them come in and kill them, or would you lie to them and say they're not there? So, kind of think about each of these topics. Murder is a word that obviously means you've murdered someone, you've taken life needlessly, or in an act of, there's various degrees of manslaughter in the legal case system. But is it always wrong to kill? So the word kill versus the word murder, there's a different moral system there. Do you kill for food? You kill an animal for food. If you're a vegetarian, that's still immoral. But let's say you're saving your life or saving someone's life. To kill somebody, if it's going to hurt them, to save your life or your loved one's life, is it always evil or sinful or wrong to take life if it's to protect the life of others? Stealing, you have the two pictures on the left, they're stealing, and maybe that's an addiction or a problem these people have. But what if the old man on the right, this picture, he has this man, the money he's secretly stashing in his suit coat, what if it's to save the life of his wife? And they can't get money to get this medicine that will save her life. Again, there's a lot of hypothetical situations, but sexual orientation is something, and behavior I want to talk about. Who defines which sexual orientation is good or bad? So religions, conservative religions especially, have called these sins behaviors. Anything outside of monogamous, heterosexual, traditional, quote unquote, family system. But who defines that? It doesn't explicitly state this in many of the teachings of Jesus and in many of the aspects of other religious practices. But these are difficult systems of morality for some. Drugs, you can obviously misuse it and use drugs to harm yourself or others if it's used the wrong way. You can pause this part if you want to read over this as an interesting fundamental tenets. But just want to finish, there's people argue for and against moral relativity and objective morality, but what do you think? And thank you for joining us on these series of morality with Worldview Connections.